How's it going, friends? The EU general election kicked off today. The Dutch voted today. Over the next 3 days, every single EU member nation will hold their own election. Everyone will have voted by the end of June 9th. First, however, I want to talk about Robert Fico, the Prime Minister of Slovakia. Yesterday, he made his first public statement since he was nearly murdered 3 weeks ago. He says he's recovering well, but it's still going to be weeks before he can go back to work. Now, I posted the entire statement with English subtitles on my Twitter feed. I'll post a link to that below. It's about 14 minutes long. He says that he forgives the shooter, and he's not going to go on any kind of revenge tour or go after groups that the shooter supported. He says that he wants the media and the Soros-funded NGOs to reflect on the hatred and division that they have fomented in Slovakia. Now, Fico has actually been saying for months that the media and the NGOs were whipping up such hysteria that they were going to get someone killed, that an unhinged person would try to shoot a member of his coalition. And in this video, he even says that weeks before the assassination attempt, he had even told his ministers to avoid large crowds because he thought that something like this was coming. I want to talk about the recent South African general election. Since the fall of apartheid, the African National Congress, ANC, has always ruled the country with an outright majority. Well, in this election, they got 40.2%. They're basically blindsided by a new Zulu-dominated party. Basically, the supporters of Jacob Zuma launched a brand new party called Tip of the Spear. It's named after the former terrorist wing of the ANC. And in some ways, they're going more radical than the ANC. They're calling for basically full communism and confiscation of white-owned property to be redistributed to black people. The main reason they differ from the ANC is its tribal animosity. They don't like Ramaphosa. He's their tribal enemy because he has insulted the Zulu people by getting rid of Jacob Zuma. And of course, Jacob Zuma was famously corrupt. Even for a country like South Africa, he was just blatantly corrupt. But the Zulu don't care about corruption. They only care about, is he a member of my tribe? Now, there's a few other ways they differ from the ANC. There's a big new movement called Operation Dudula, which is also dominated by the Zulu. Dudula is the Zulu word for force out. And they're demanding that all the illegal aliens be deported from South Africa. And they're saying that if the government doesn't do it soon, then they're going to take matters into their own hands and forcefully round up illegal aliens and take them to the borders of South Africa and push them over. Well, this party is also tapping into that. They're against illegal immigration. They also want to repeal gay marriage. So there's some social issues that they differ from the ANC. But the main bottom line is Ramaphosa is their tribal enemy. It's a lot about just tribal animosity. Now you get the EFF, which is basically a super radical group that wants full communism and also confiscation of white-owned property to be redistributed to black people. Both of these parties are advocating that they go full Zimbabwe. And nobody actually believes that South Africa is going to get any better. It's been in a free fall collapse for 30 years now. And it's pretty much how fast is it going to get worse? And you get like these EFF guys, and then some of the non-Zulu that the Tip of the Spear is now pandering to, like the Black First Land movement. Well, they're saying that, yeah, maybe if we get our way, everything's going to collapse and we'll ruin our own standard of living, but we will also hurt the white people, and that will be good for our self-esteem. So we will commit to ruining our lives as long as we can ruin the lives of the white people too. I mean, that's pretty much what they're saying. Now, the second largest party is Democratic Alliance, which is the pro-business centrist party. And to all the black radicals, Democratic Alliance is referred to as the party of white privilege, because they want to do away with the anti-white laws that have already been passed by the ANC. They want to roll that back. And they want to basically slow down the collapse of South Africa by allowing people to run businesses and create jobs. Now, I put the next four largest vote-getting parties. There's the Inkatha Freedom Party, which is basically like the Zulu Nationalist Party. It's pretty much the conservative party for the Zulu tribe. Historically, they were huge enemies with the ANC. A lot of the biggest violence from before the fall of apartheid was between the ANC and the IFP. Then there's Patriotic Alliance, which is kind of like the more conservative pro-business party for the colored population in the Cape region. And then this is Freedom Front, which is a conservative Dutch Boer party. And then this is some kind of goofy libertarian party. Then there's over a dozen other parties that got at least one or two seats each. But the bottom line is the ANC is floundering around right now, wondering what to do. Do they form an alliance with the party of white privilege, or do they form an alliance with pulling the trigger on Fool Zimbabwe? Now, the Tip of the Spear party says they won't form any agreement with the ANC until their tribal enemy Ramaphosa steps down. So if Ramaphosa wants to stay in power and Tip of the Spear sticks to their word and refuses to work with him, then the situation that could end up happening that's been floated is an alliance with Democratic Alliance and the Inkatha Freedom Party, which would be extremely unusual. But Ramaphosa apparently wants to pass some constitutional amendments, and he needs a 2/3 majority, and that alliance would give him the 2/3 majority. And so it's been suggested that he make promises to Democratic Alliance and IFP in exchange for them voting for his constitutional amendments and voting to put the ANC back in power as a minority ruling coalition. That's one possibility. But there's other possibilities have also been suggested. Now, official results for the Dutch election are not in yet. Based on the exit poll, the left-wing Labour Party outperformed the polls, and Geert Wilders' Party for Freedom underperformed. This is the exact same thing that happened in 2019. I remember making a video about it. It was suggested to me that in the Netherlands, the government workers are allowed to leave work to go vote, but the private sector doesn't do this. Well, the Labour Party is very heavily the party of government workers, and that inflates their numbers at the polls by letting them all leave work to vote. So it looks like Geert Wilders did come in second place with about 17.5%. It's being predicted that he'll get 7 of the 31 seats. Now, the Farmers Party, BBB, they're predicted to get 2 seats. The Calvinist Party, which is a conservative party, is predicted to get 1 seat. The Forum for Democracy only got about 2.5% and isn't going to get a seat. The Forum for Democracy splinter group got less than 1%. Had it not been for this idiotic splinter group, then they would have just barely won a seat. Although from 2019 to the predicted results today, the conservative parties will go from basically 21% of the seats to 32% of the seats. All right, the next few days, I'm going to try to make a bunch of new videos for all the election results. So click the like button, post a comment below, tell me what you think about all this, and click the subscribe button. New video every few days.